All right, Patrick. So Carlos Correa was asked about people who are upset that the Twins are giving Byron Buxton a maintenance day every 3 days a week or whatever, and he said, "quote Those people probably don't know the game of baseball. If you've got crap to talk about our best player, one of the best players in the game, then you don't know what you're doing." Your thoughts?
Well, it's too bad that I wouldn't disagree with the fact that he's top 5 or 6 player in Major League Baseball, but you're not one of the top 5 players in Major League Baseball if you play 100 games, and that's simple. And you know, I believe now, Judd and I believe, and I think they're now kind of mentioning it, that this is chronic. So this is the future, and I guess we have to accept it. This is not something that's going to be better 2 months from now. Apparently, he's got a bad knee, and Judd and I were talking yesterday, Phil. This might be the reason he took $100 million, and
Yeah, absolutely.
not wait for $180 million. That he better take what was there. So I think that they are fortunate that they have a kid who can play center field now, at least behind him. I don't agree with our guy Dick that they're just as well off when Celestino plays, but the fact that there's somebody who is an actual center fielder for the 1/3 of the season that this guy's going to miss, is good. But I think if Correa came out and said they're all right, he's a big wussy, that's probably not wouldn't have been good for team camaraderie. So I cannot get too upset about Correa saying those of us who are critical of this don't know anything about baseball, because what else is he going to say?
Can I just, and I'll shut up and let Judd, because Judd's on the same patch of turf here, but I'm going to defend Judd for a second, because Judd because he's getting some blowback today too, being negative and whatnot. This is a franchise, and this is a statement on the current state of sports media, I think, and the way fans perceive it. This is a franchise that has the longest postseason losing streak in North American team sports history. Okay.
Yes, America. I think that includes softball.
Yes.
Anyway,
it's crazy. They literally haven't won a playoff game in 18 years.
Yes.
They deserve to be questioned. Now, whether or not they turn out to be right or wrong, okay. But people act like if you ask questions and poke and let's lift up under the hood there and see, do you really know what you're doing, that you're a hater and you're negative? Come on.
Well, let's face it, and I've said this 6 times now, the fact that we went nuts Saturday night is the reason they had to fess up on Sunday. We still wouldn't have known what the Buxton plan was if we didn't all start throwing hand grenades on Saturday night when he didn't pinch hit in the 10th inning. And that fact that the public was riled up, and the non-ass kissing media was riled up, and they had to come out and say, okay, we have this plan where we're hoping to have him play 100 games. So we got you to the truth. All us haters got you to the truth, people. All you butt kissers. So
what they told us so far, because I think it's more than that. But you know what, guys? This also explains. I thought it was weird in Boston when he aggravated the knee and was so mad, like he was pounding his fist, and I thought, oh my God, he tore his knee. He's done. Mm-hmm. It explains it now, because it's chronic. It wasn't. It flared up again, and so he was frustrated. So I would guess when he signed that contract, the doctor said, "Here's your problem," right? Mm-hmm. And the team said, "Okay, we'll give you this, but that's it." And he said, "Okay," because if he went to the Mets or Phillies and tried to go through a physical, they would say the same thing, and those teams would probably shy away. So the whole thing in Boston now makes more sense, because I think that was just him saying, here it goes again.
And let me say one other thing. This was not the plan, I don't think, in spring training, that they're kind of maybe trying to make it, because he did play the first 6 games of the season. Sure. He played the 5 in 5 days. and then he played. Then they had a day off, and then he played in Boston, and then he had a week off because he got hurt. But this was, I'm sure they had a plan to give him maintenance days, but I don't think the 100 became the magic number until he missed that first week, and then they said, "Oh, okay, well, we got to come up with," and then the fellas up there, and the other thing is we've all, Doc Rock, we all do the whole Rocco joke here, but this is coming from above him. This is not Rocco making these decisions. So Rocco might be choosing the days, but don't you feel like they got a schedule that says this day, this day, this day, like at least 2 a week, maybe 3 a week that he's missing, they got 8 days marked during the month where he's not going to play, and no matter what happens, because, last week he'd only played twice, and then they had to have his maintenance day. So this is the new reality, that's for sure. And if they can only keep playing Oakland, where you can score 10 runs in 4 games and go 4-0, isn't that good? That's fantastic.
Dylan Bundy tonight. We're gonna put that to the test.
Yeah, we will,
with the light hitting A's.
This will be the big test for the Oakland hitting attack. If they can avoid runs tonight, this will be a very
swinging A's, Pat.
Boy, that sounded like a worked up crowd last night. I didn't see the box score, but they had to have 1,500 there last night.
So the announced attendance was 3,138 last night. There may have been more rats in that stadium, according to some of the pictures I saw, than fans. One of the reporters sent out a picture here. I should have sent this to you, Declan, but there is a rat peeking its head and half of its body coming down from the ceiling tiles and poking its head into the press box.
Looking down and saying, "What do you be? What do you do?" And you know what they're saying is, "Boy, we used to have a lot more peanut shells to eat when the games were over than we are now."
I liked when McGuire was here. Hey, Lenny, it was more fun when McGuire was here.
Yeah, the rats are starving to death there, man. Come on, feed the rats. Let's go. They should have a feed the rats promotion there.
They should.
God, I hope they announce in July they're going to Vegas. Get the hell out of there.
Agreed. Why is it okay? So Oakland always has one of the lowest payrolls. It's dump of a stadium, but
this time they just, for no reason, they just dropped everybody to make the locals mad. Don't you think? I don't know what they're trying.
Yeah, but it's also one of the 5 biggest. It's part of the Bay Area sports market. So in terms of population and potential, it's one of the 5 biggest markets in the country. Is it just location, stadium,
the
crappy
location
brand?
Wasn't bad because it's where it's out in the east. The East Bay, where their fan base used to be, is out in the suburbs there, out in the East Bay. But I mean, one of the phenomenons of modern American sports is this crap stadium that goes back to the mid-'60s, was the only stadium in America to have both an NFL and Major League Baseball team for about 10 years. They have both of them. It's unbelievable how they both have put up with it all. The Raiders finally got out, but Oakland is, the city doesn't have any money, that's one thing. It's it's got 10th of much commerce as across the bay, San Francisco. But it used to be kind of fun when they were good and they packed it in out there, and the train drops you off right next to there. So it's convenient in some ways, but they've done everything they can to ruin it now because they want to leave, I think. So
yeah. All right. Hey, Carlos Correa is going to come back here soon. So what do you do?
That's good.
What do you do? Royce Lewis can't go back down.
Maybe he can. I don't know. I mean, Urschel is your third baseman. I don't want Lewis to start becoming an outfielder. I don't want him to be a super, Correa's gone. He's going to be your shortstop. I don't want him to be a super utility player.
Sounds like that's the plan, Pat.
I mean, Nick Gordon is their current starting left fielder.
Yeah, well, you could do that, but then the
sounds like that's what they're going to do, Pat.
Then the kid's got to go play all summer, all winter in the shortstop someplace because he's going to be your shortstop next year. So, maybe Correa DHs half the time and Lewis plays shortstop, or Correa goes over and
center field's going to need about 3 games a week from someone too, and unless you think Celestino is going to keep hitting like this.
Yeah. Yeah, if they keep him, then Nick Gordon's out, right?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't he out?
Yeah, he'd probably be
you
out.
got to keep Celestino, and you're only going to have a 4-player bench. But I just did this on Twitter. I was reading about Joel Eriksson-Ek and that he took that stick from his buddy, right? One of his teammates.
Kulikov.
And he lost 4 teeth. And he fractured his jawline a little bit.
Yep.
And they pulled the teeth. They yanked the teeth, what was remaining of the teeth out.
Yep.
And the guy missed a whole period. What a wussy. If he'd been
full shield on,
if he'd been Buxton and it was a day you were supposed to play, scheduled day off, they would have never gotten him out of the if he'd hit his face into the center field and lost 4 teeth, do you think he would have left the game? Hell no.
Doc Rock would have told him, you are never playing again.
No, you're
retiring. I'm announcing your retirement from the bench right now.
That's true. That is true. Unbelievable. When you read about it, and Dumba, the story about Dumba, he had a punctured lung. No, we never found out he had He had a deflated lung.
A broken rib, a dislocated rib, right? And a punctured lung.
10 games.
This happens in hockey too, where we bag on a guy. What's Dumba is playing like crap? What's Dumba doing? Get rid, ship Dumba's ass out of town. He's
not bad with one lung.
Who clears him though? My question is, in 2022, what doctor do you have to go to say, yeah, it's a fractured rib, but I mean, what else can happen?
Yeah, right. You're okay.
You could die. Okay, cool. I'll play.
Yeah, it's the difference between the two approaches is just really something. Somebody said today too, Buxton should have played that less difficult sport. Should have stuck with that less difficult sport, football. So, but I don't know. He's. I guess I'm willing to let it go because it's chronic now, and this is what they're going to do.
Yeah, it is what it is.
Until they find out until they come out and say no, it's not chronic. But now that's being referred to in print and things as
Phil did today.
Chronic,
yeah. The word
Phil
chronic is now being used. So
use chronic.
Anyway, all right. Let me rip Pat Bev. I don't like the guy. Okay. I thought he gave them a defensive ethic. I'll say that, but he's a complete moron, and he played terrible against Memphis offensively down the stretch. He was one of the bigger reasons they urinated away 3 10-point leads in the fourth quarter, and but they get him ESPN knows he'll say anything, right? So they get him to do, what do they call that?
The car wash.
Car wash. They get him through the car wash yesterday, and he's ripping everybody. That team, okay, 2 things. We saw the best we're ever going to see from Cat. The most and the best. This is it. 74 of 82 games. He's now going and getting stem cell and everything else in like 5 different joints, right?
Yeah.
Get ready for 50 next year. Get ready for 50 games next year. I see this one coming from 100 miles away.
Can we go on the record here? I want to give you credit if this hits.
Yeah. Write that down.
Write that down. We're a day early here.
Write that down. He's playing 50 next year, and we're going to have the Buxton approach with Cat. We're going to have managed days off, right? And then they're going to have unmanaged days off. We've seen the best we'll ever see. We've seen the most committed Cat we'll ever see last year. And this team,
so would you give him that kind? You got to give him, you have to make a decision on a $200 million Supermax in about a month.
I don't know what your choice is, really. Do you?
You have to do it. Yeah, you have to do it.
You have to, boy, you have to sit down and have some serious conversations with him.
I'd make him look me in the eye. That's what I would do.
Well,
thanks.
if he's going to look Gupta in the eye, Gupta's going to need a ladder. So Gupta's about 4 foot.
A ladder? He's going to need a cherry picker, Pat.
He's a jockey, and the other guy's 7 foot. So it might be hard to look him in the eye. I don't know. Who we looking in the eye now? Is it still Glenn, or has it got to be somebody else? But Well,
I think Glenn is still, technically you still have.
Probably don't have a choice, but I just I think the wheels could really come off next year with this operation if Cat's getting getting every joint he has shot up with stem cell and whatever else, and Beverly's a 1-year act too, and giving him $13 million. Why you decided to give that moron $13 million when you could get him for $8 million if you wanted it? Just you wanted to make him feel good. Him ripping Chris Paul, unbelievable.
Can Buck and Cat get like walkers with the old people?
Well, can
we petition these leagues?
We shouldn't say
to give them a walker, yet. Just in case though. Like when you do the contract.
I'm just speculating on Cat. I could be dead
Throw
wrong.
me the ball inside. I want the ball.
Play 74 games again next year and show the same commitment. I'm just very skeptical.
Those treatments do scare you.
Yes, it sounds like he went in and he went to the. It's like I don't know. It's like going to where it's going. Going, yeah, okay. Let's shoot up that joint too. What the hell? Why we're at it here? Hip.
If you do 5 joints, you get the 4 joints. You get the 5th one free. Okay.
The other thing about Buck we should mention is it's all about the knee now, but we got the hip too. I don't know what it's just, man. But what the heck? They're in first place and nobody's chasing them. That's good.
Also, how does it feel today to not have to be plugged into the NBA draft lottery? That's the good news for the Timberwolves. Today is NBA draft lottery day.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it is. First time in second time since 2004. Right?
Yeah.
Well, they missed a couple, didn't they? To trade it out, and they missed a.
Yeah, we're trying to figure out
when did we have the draft at home and not have a draft choice? That was the all-timer. And everybody just went there to boo Joe Prisbilla, basically. They had the Target Center. What year was it?
Oh, my gosh. Was it 03? I thought Prisbilla was because he only played a year with the Gophers. It was like 02. I think it was like 03.
Early. Okay, so it was before 04.
This is during the Indy. It was before Indy EB, who was 03. So it must have been 02 because they were still penalized with the Joe Smith.
Wouldn't you like this? Kevin doesn't talk to anybody anymore, McHale, but as his career's as he's winding down, I'd like to sit down with him someday. And Evie, what the hell were you thinking? What were you thinking? Where did this come from? You saw him playing a junior varsity game and said, "Yeah, I'm going to draft this."
Was that like a Garnett 2 thing? Like, did he think he was, found the next KG because he was an unknown? I couldn't figure that one out.
I got to ask you and I talked about this. I got to ask Phil this question. Mm-hmm. What do you think of this Twins administration? There's a lot of stuff that I thought I liked, but you go back, and I said this yesterday, you hit more home runs than any team in the history of baseball, so you go get a home run hitter for $92 million instead of a pitcher. Mm-hmm. And then you draft that Sabata, a big lug without a position who's now hitting 185 someplace, in Cedar Rapids or someplace, and you do these other goofy. You trade Taylor Rogers, who's now 13 for 13 with a 0.60 ERA and leading the major leagues in saves, and you give them $6 million for a guy who's had his elbow stem celled. Mm-hmm. What are we thinking now? Are we? How skeptical are we? How should we be?
Very, very. Yes. I'll paraphrase. I was talking to a friend of mine who works for a different organization like a month ago, and I was actually asking him some of these same questions about, hey, it's been 5 or 6 years, you're plugged in enough. What do people around the league think of Derek Falvey and these guys? And he said, honestly, especially early on, it was apparent that he was probably several years too early in that job, mm-hmm. and a little bit in over his head, more than you thought, because I think he was pretty good with the media and he was, I think he's a good guy.
Yes, he is.
But the Twins front office is not, around baseball, from what I have heard, is not regarded as a state-of-the-art collection of bright minds. Not that they're idiots or anything, but it's not.
No.
They're not like the whiz kids that maybe we had hoped from 5 years ago.
Yeah, I agree with that, and you know, I told you guys that Francona apparently, I didn't get this from him, but was absolutely stunned about the Taylor Rogers trade because he loved the guy and he hated it when the Indians had, the Guardians had to face him, and they saw him down in Arizona too, and they were just like, what, where did this come from?
Well, then so 2019, you got the best power. You mentioned it, the best power hitting team in baseball history, and this is your shot, and you wind up trading for an injured pitcher at the deadline and running Randy Dobnak out, I think at Yankee Stadium, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. Yeah.
And then this season, it's like, okay, we're going to make a bunch of moves. The Correa thing is awesome. It's a great move.
What?
But then they trade for a pitcher who had UCL strain elbow injections in October last year, and his arm blows up after 3 starts. Like, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, there's more and more of that evidence that I just wonder what the hell's going on. Homer Bailey, he had 10 good games in 5 years, and you give him $7 million, and he pitches once for you.
Jake Cave over who was the second round pick that went to Detroit. They let him go, and then Lamont Wade, they let him go. Right? Just
yeah.
Dylan Bundy though tonight. Come on, everybody.
Okay, it's almost June. If he's lights
Get
out
on
and turns
board.
the ship around, he's
gonna have to turn the ship
The
around
apology.
a lot after these last 2 starts. Dude.
Well, I was reading today, Ober comes back, they may go back to 6 starters. You don't have to do that. Assuming Bundy's not very good tonight, although it's against Oakland, so who knows. But, you don't have to worry about having too many starters with this collection, right?
Archer is pretty painful to watch at times as well.
Yeah, he got 4 last night, though, without,
I know, but
it now.
The A's, man. I think they're hitting like what, 190 something.
The A's are really bad. Yeah,
I mean, they can't hit, but
no, they're hitting. They're hitting 200. But as I said, the Twins have scored 10 runs against them. 4-0. So
Did you guys know, real quick before we say goodbye here, that Indy Eby was still playing professionally as recently as 3 years ago?
Where? In Australia? Or
he was playing. He's basically played on a new team every year, but it was some sort of French league.
Oh yeah,
it's a.
Confounded,
it's like the
probably.
third division. It's a French professional basketball club.
Oh yeah.
It's the first level of basketball in France. They play in front of 5,000 fans every night. Apparently.
What year was that?
The draft.
Year was Indy?
So he was drafted 26th overall in 2003.
And there was Josh Howard was the guy who was a pretty good player. It was right after him, right? And
the Wolves did get Josh Howard eventually about 15 years later.
Right. See, we admit our mistakes, even if they're 12 years later. So.
Amazing.
Yeah. Well, hey, what are we positive about? What do we feel good about?
I think in general, I'm positive about the Timberwolves probably more than you are. Yeah. Kirill Kaprizov isn't going anywhere.
Well, he's going back to Russia.
Yeah, I don't like that, by the way. He got on a plane to go home. I hate that. Mm-hmm. Come stay at my house. I got a guest tonight, dude. That last thing I want you to do is go home and for there to be some type of visa problems, whatever.
Why doesn't he go over there and say, send Brittany Griner home, you morons?
You're right about that.
We have let all these Russian hockey players get away with murder, not saying anything about the evil Putin because we figure they'll kill his parents. So I guess that's a pretty good excuse.
Well, I don't want his parents to die. I want them all to come here.
That's a pretty good excuse not to comment, I guess.
Whatever's going to make Kirill comfortable, I want. Get his family out. Get him out. Don't ever go back.
I'm all for that. All right, gentlemen.
All right, see you, Pat.
We will.
Thanks, Pat.
I'll tell you tomorrow, we're going to spin something positive. I'm going to be happy about something
Positive
tomorrow.
Pat tomorrow. Positive Pat's coming in.
Yes, tomorrow. Yes,
Game 3 against the swinging A's, Pat. The Twins will score 2 more runs tonight and win.
That's okay. See ya. Goodbye.
All right, see ya. All right, that was a little negative. Okay, they beat the A's last night. I don't know what more you want. They beat the A's last night.
Oh, yeah. I told you, they're a playoff team playing against the majority of teams because the American League has a lot of garbage.
Yeah. By the way, that
That's fine.
discussion with Pat, the very spirited discussion presented by our friends at Federated Mutual Insurance Company, over 100 years of experience in helping maximize the success of businesses through risk management tools and resources. These people are pros. They are great to work with, and they are supporters of local sports teams like the Wolves, United, the Gophers. Check them out at federatedinsurance.com, where it's our business to protect yours. All right, boys.